show you a draft email that you provided to the committee. Mr. Chairman, I yield.
Objection on time. Good job. Chair now recognize Ms. Crockett for 1 minute, or 5 minutes.
1 minute. All right. First of all, Mr. Bobulinski, do you know who Elections LLC is? Yeah.
Mike.
Well, it's not a who.
Okay. Well, do you know what it is?
Yes, it's a LLC.
Okay. And is it the LLC that your attorney works for?
I believe so, yes.
You believe so. Okay. So at this point in time, I'd ask unanimous consent to enter into the record a document indicating that the law firm representing Tony Bobulinski was paid $10,000 as recently as January of this year by the Save America PAC, which you may recognize as Donald Trump's PAC.
Without objection.
Thank you. Now, so far in this hearing, it has felt like the worst episode of The Apprentice. I'm sure you're familiar with that show. It seems like my colleagues and maybe you and some others are trying to become the next vice president of the United States of America. You're auditioning or something like that because, Mr. Bobulinski, I know that you take exception to the fact that your credibility has been called into question over and over. But when someone comes to testify under oath, whether it's before this committee, behind closed doors, or in person, then we have to evaluate someone's credibility. And sir, I definitely have always had issues with your credibility, as I know that you are very well aware of. So let me remind you of what happened behind closed doors.
Well, you should ask O'Connor about my credibility.
I haven't asked you a question. Okay?
You are?
When I haven't. So when I ask you a question, that's when you answer. Otherwise, I'm talking. So,
excuse me?
With my time, because it's my time, I want to be clear that when we were behind closed doors, you called a number of people liars. You called the Wall Street Journal liars. You called Cassidy Hutchinson a liar. You called the FBI a liar. You called Rob Walker a liar. You called James Gilliar a liar. You called Hunter Biden a liar. You called Jim Biden a liar. And just today, you added to your list, you called my colleague, Congressman Mr. Goldman, a liar as well. It seems like, according to you, the only person that's telling the truth is you and everyone else is lying. But I want to move on to something else.
Is that a question?
It's not a question.
Oh, okay.
You'll know when I ask you a question, I promise.
Thank you.
So the other thing that I want to talk about is the fact that my colleague from the other side of the aisle talked about the company that we keep. And she wanted to go through a list of people that she felt like were bad company because right now the majority has been relying upon the testimony of someone who's currently sitting in federal prison. And we know that your company is the company of somebody who's been found liable of fraud, as well as defamation, as well as sexual assault, and for whatever reason can't pay his bills at this point in time. But I'm going to ask Mr. Parnas, so this is a question to him. Are you aware if Trump had any associates that have been found guilty of anything?
Yes, lots of them.
Lots of them.
Me included.
You included. Okay, so when you were called here to testify, you weren't called here to testify for any other reason than to tell the truth. Is that correct?
Yes, Congresswoman.
Now, we started this whole sham off because of the 1023. And that was debunked by you, was it not?
Yes, Congresswoman.
Way before we started this impeachment inquiry. And you mentioned a number of times this guy by the name of Rudy Giuliani.
Yes.
Now, you know, everybody is so stressed about the fact that Hunter ain't here today. But, you know, Hunter came and testified behind closed doors for over 6 hours. And every single one of them, they weren't limited to 5 minutes. They could ask whatever they wanted to. And there's a full transcript of his testimony. So I don't know what else they wanted to do besides the fact that they wanted to put on a show. But let me tell you something. This whole thing is based upon something that Giuliani came up with.
Yes.
And we tried to subpoena him that's what I remember. If anybody else remember, we asked, we said, hey, we should subpoena Giuliani. But, you know, kind of like when we were trying to get his cell phone, they shut it down, right? Like, they don't want the facts. But you would agree with me considering the fact that you were working under Rudy Giuliani at the time that you went over to Ukraine, that he has maybe some valuable information that he could offer this committee as to whether or not there's anything that we should be investigating in the first place.
Absolutely, Congresswoman. I wish that this committee would subpoena Rudy Giuliani, put him under oath alongside me to get to the bottom of the truth of what actually happened in Ukraine and to the manipulation that Trump and Giuliani and the team went to do.
I agree with you, but somehow it doesn't look like we're going to get there, and I thank you for your time. With that, I'll yield.
Time's expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Biggs from Arizona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Galanis, on May 9th, 2014, you received an email from Devin Archer confirming
Tensions flared on Capitol Hill during a fiery House Oversight Committee hearing as lawmakers clashed over witness credibility, political bias, and ties to former President Donald Trump. Representative Jasmine Crockett delivered one of the most confrontational moments of the day, questioning witness Tony Bobulinski and raising concerns about his credibility and political affiliations. Mr. Bobulinski, the law firm representing you received $10,000 from Donald Trump's Save America PAC as recently as January, Crockett said, submitting documents to the record. The Congresswoman then accused Bobulinski of dismissing nearly every opposing voice, saying, "You've called everyone a liar, from the Wall Street Journal and the FBI to Hunter and Jim Biden. According to you, the only person telling the truth is you." Crockett continued by criticizing what she called a political performance from her Republican colleagues. This hearing feels like the worst episode of The Apprentice. Some of my colleagues seem to be auditioning to be Trump's next vice president. She then shifted her focus to witness Lev Parnas, a former associate of Rudy Giuliani who previously worked on Trump-related matters in Ukraine. "Mr. Parnas, were you aware of Trump associates who have been found guilty of crimes?" she asked. "Yes, lots of them, myself included." Crockett highlighted that the impeachment inquiry was based on a now-debunked FBI form, the so-called 1023, and argued that it originated from Giuliani's disinformation campaign. "This whole thing is built on something Rudy Giuliani cooked up," she said. "If the majority really wanted the truth, they'd subpoena Giuliani and put him under oath." Parnas agreed, saying, "I wish this committee would subpoena Rudy Giuliani and have him testify alongside me to expose what really happened in Ukraine." The hearing concluded with more partisan back and forth as Republicans and Democrats continued to spar over the direction of the investigation and the credibility of key witnesses.